there are people who are paying for them. Nobody's paying.
Ecosystem, you mentioned ecosystem.
Yes.
That means
Yeah, it is an ecosystem.
they perpetuate.
Ecosystem. People have been approaching. Okay, so the rates were decided as per the number of your followers. So there are people who are doing it. There are people who are fueling it. Unfortunately, nobody is issuing such a rate card for Riyasi. If we see these all 7 to 8 attacks, 7 to 8 rather more than 10 attacks, which have happened in last 8 or 9 years or so, there are few similarities who were killed. Number one, the steel core bullets which were recovered from them had Chinese marking. So it doesn't matter because anybody can. The bus, some of the fired cases which were recovered, it revealed that they did use steel core bullets in this operation.
Against small children and unarmed
against small children.
civilians.
Yes. If when you talk about the plan, you have to see what is going on in the minds of their Pakistani mentors. So what is happening since 2015-16 onwards, after we learned the bitter lessons in Valley, after the death of Burhan Wani, the way the protests and all took place, and after the Article 370 was repealed in 2019, there has been a sea change which is happening in Valley. So in Valley, most of the troublemakers, so-called separatists, people who were the recruiters, they've all been sent behind the bars. The entire financial backbone of the terrorism in Valley has been broken down. In addition to that, from between in last 10 years or so, what happened to curtail the infiltration, whether it is Kupwara sector, whether it is Baramulla sector, or whether it is Punch and all other areas of J&K, entire line of control was fenced. And where I'm talking about line of control, not about the international border. Entire line of control was fenced. And there was a 3-tier deployment in which the first tier is being manned by the Indian Army in the line of control. Then we have 2 more layers of Rashtriya Rifles and the paramilitary forces respectively guarding any kind of infiltration. So as a result, what happened in last 5 to 6 years, literally the infiltration has gone down to almost negligible from the line of control. I'm not talking about the international border so far. Line of control and whatever people are coming from that area. See, any terrorist who is infiltrating into the area, before he reaches active areas, like before he reaches his area of operation, like the group of terrorists infiltrated from Kupwara. So by the time it reaches Shopian or Pulwama or Valley area, that group has to travel along and it needs a lot of support structure. So those support structures have been broken down. But that's not so. So Pakistan has got an aim. Pakistan wants to show to the international community that still there are a lot of trouble brewing in Kashmir. It wanted to internationalize the issue. So it wanted to show that yes, लोगों के ऊपर अत्याचार हो रहा है, people are being troubled, Indian army is creating a lot of menace. So for that, it need to create some kind of issues and keep the militancy active in Jammu and Kashmir. On one hand, why he is not able to do so in the Valley area because of Operation All Out, and because of all other various issues, and because of the 3-tier deployment on line of control, he's not able to do it. He came up with a different strategy to enhance the terror activities in Jammu area. Now, Jammu area, whatever has been happening, we see the entire sequence of events, like he has been experimenting these things right from Nagrota attacks. You see, these all activities started right from, I call 2016, or rather 2015, not Nagrota attack, 2015 Dinanar attack as a benchmark.
So which attack is that, Dinar?
That Gurdaspur attack, in which they attacked one of the police station, also they attacked one of the army base also. You remember that Dinar 2015 attack. So these 2015 attacks are a benchmark where they started experimenting with this new strategy, and the same new strategy, same new modus operandi is now out and open. What they've been doing? People have not been infiltrating from the line of control because they know that in the 3-tier deployment, it is very difficult for them to survive. They are infiltrating through the international border where the BSF is deployed, using the terrain of Gurdaspur and Kathua and the Vijayanagar area to infiltrate into this. Come till highway, because this is the area where the national highway, Pathankot Jammu national highway, goes very close to the international border.
So, Gurdaspur is Punjab, isn't it?
Gurdaspur is Punjab, and next to Gurdaspur is Kathua. So you talk about Gurdaspur, Pathankot, and Kathua, this entire belt. The highway goes it runs very close to the international border. It runs almost parallel to the international border. So anybody who's infiltrating from the international border, for him, it doesn't take much time. It takes few hours to reach to the highway, board a truck, and go wherever it wants. Now, after 2015 Dinanagar attack, I'll again remember this 2020, in which 4 terrorists were killed in one of the checkposts in Jammu area. You remember that? They were
Yes,
traveling in truck.
yes, I remember. And that
Yes.
also happened along the highway, I think.
Yes.
Is
So
it?
there also the strategy was same. These 4 terrorists infiltrated through the international border, came to the highway. They sat in the truck. The truck was specifically prepared. There was a cavity inside the truck where they hid. They sat in the truck, and truck was taking them to Kashmir. So it is an easy way for them to infiltrate without taking the help of locals, without taking the help of people, and straight away going to that. Now we compare these two incidents, one the Dinanagar attack and then this 2020 attack post in which 4 terrorists were killed. Compare it with the yesterday's attack which happened in Kathua. The 3 terrorists or 2 or 3, whatever terrorists were there, they came from the international border. Since because of the Riyasi attack, the police and security forces were already on a vigil. They spotted them. They fired at the police vehicles, and then finally they were neutralized. So, which means that the area between Gurdaspur to Palawala in the place from where the line of control starts, they are extremely sensitive. And continuously, Pakistan is using this area to infiltrate terrorists into India. Now, once again, we look back into the timelines. 2015, Dinanagar attacks. 2016, Pathankot airbase attack. 2016 itself, there was an attack in Nagrota. 2018, where they entered into the Sunjwan military camp. Okay. Then recent attacks on Indian Air Force. There was an attack last year on one of the Rashtriya Rifles post also. Prior to that, there was one convoy which was attacked in this year itself. If we see these all 7 to 8 attacks, 7 to 8 rather more than 10 attacks, which have happened in last 8 or 9 years or so, there is there are few similarities. Number one, the attackers have all been foreign terrorists or all been Pakistanis. While we see in the valley, you will find people who are the local guys who have been recruited by the terror tanzims. But here, people are Pakistanis. They're very well trained. They're heavily equipped, even equipped with the steel core bullets. You will not find steel core bullets in the valley. You'll find steel core bullets only in this area. Very heavily equipped with IDs, equipped with even under barrel grenade launchers. So the way they are equipped, the way they are prepared, the way they are trained, and the way they come from, all of them have been Pakistani. So this is one similarity. Second similarity is that since there has been hardly any input that they infiltrated from line of control, I presume that nearly all of them must have infiltrated through the international border through the same modus operandi which has been used in which these 4 terrorists were neutralized in Toll Plaza. So there's altogether different strategies being utilized by Pakistan to infiltrate people into India, to infiltrate highly trained terrorists into India, create a kind of sense of fear. And another strategy which has been happening, like when we were deployed in Jammu and Kashmir, the terrorists used to have a different strategy. They used to come, attack on us, and they used to fight till the last breath. Now they're not doing it. They're firstly planning of the attack, they execute the attack, and then they scoot. They just run away vanish from that area. And they don't do any activity in that particular area. And then you'll find after maybe few days or few months or few weeks, another incident is happening in some other area. So they're shifting the pace. One incident is happening in Surankot. Next incident has happened in Riyasi. Third incident has happened in some other place. So the strategy is overall change so that they can keep the Indian army engaged. Now, why Indian army engaged? That also matches with the concept of Pakistan. Till for last 10 to 15 years, there has been a gradual de-induction of security forces from the Jammu area. Because there have been a relative peace, no major incidents. Now, when you're doing multiple incidents at various places, multiple incidents at various locations, it will instigate Indian government to deploy more and more number of forces. More and more number of forces will move in, more and more number of army will move in. They'll carry out search. Of course, they'll carry out search, they'll carry out questioning, they'll carry out mobile checkpost, they'll put up the road checkposts, they'll search the villages. And when they'll start doing all these kind of activities, Pakistan will project it to the world that Indian army is going to harass the civilians. And once again, by doing this, they're going to internationalize the matter. So you see the overall strategy. Pakistan does not want does not want the world to know that there is a peace in Kashmir. It wants to show to the world, yes, there's no peace in Kashmir, and Indian army is harassing the people. With this same, they have been sending the groups, tanzeems. One more very interesting thing, I've been telling it on various forums also. Pakistan has been using the narco-terrorism network in a big way. The narcotics network, especially in the northern Punjab and the Kathua border, is massive. And a lot of drugs are coming in through drones also, through tunnels also. And I have no hesitation in saying that there are high possibilities that even the forces who are deployed into the border guarding and the police, local police, are also involved. There are high possibilities because without their involvement, such large scale drug trafficking cannot happen. So there are inputs that Pakistan has been using this narcotics network to infiltrate terrorists into India, or maybe sending the warlike stores. So that is also a matter on which government has to think a lot in this entire sensitive area, because this terrain is like that. So overall, the entire scenario is changing, the entire modus operandi is changing, and there are a lot of similarities between the attacks, all attacks which have happened in Jammu area, right since 2015, Dinanagar attacks. All of the attacks have got a similarity. Dinanagar attack, foreign terrorists involved. Pathankot attack, foreign terrorists involved. Sunjwan attack, foreign terrorists involved. Toll Plaza attack, Ban Toll Plaza, foreign terrorists involved. Nagrota attack, foreign terrorists involved. Air Force convoy was attacked, foreign terrorists involved. Even in prior to that, the beheading took place, foreign terrorists involved. Even in 2 days back, the incident which took place in Riyasi, foreign terrorists involved.
So I want you to explain the steel core bullet part, and you also mentioned Tanzim. A lot of people would not even know what Tanzim means. Also, why did India have to de-induct forces from the area where the attack is right now taking place? I mean, three
Okay.
things.
So firstly, I'll cover the Tanzim. Tanzim is a word which we generally in our military term we use Tanzim to demark to say about the groups, terror groups. So we can call them terrorist groups. We can call them Tanzims also. Like Lashkar-e-Taiba is the Tanzim. Hizbul Mujahideen is Tanzim. So it is a common word which is used in Kashmir about these groups. So that's about Tanzim. Secondly, you mentioned about steel core bullets. So over a period of time now, Indian Army and other security forces, they have started using the bulletproof jackets. So when it comes to normal bullets, they cannot penetrate through the bulletproof jackets, but steel core bullets are different. They can even penetrate through the bulletproof jackets. And they can even penetrate through, but they've got a better penetration power. So these terrorists are being issued with these steel core bullets in addition to their normal ammunition, so that they can attack the security forces which are even wearing the bulletproof jackets. So people who are coming, the terrorists who are coming from across the border, who are infiltrating, they are bringing in steel core bullets. Even in Riyasi attacks in which they fired at the bus, some of the fired cases which were recovered, it revealed that they did use steel core bullets in this operation also.
Against small children and unarmed
Against small children,
civilians.
yes, yes.
So,
So I could see in the images, a couple of the 2 or 3 of the fired cases were from those steel core bullets.
unfortunate. So, is it true that these steel core bullets are produced in China and it is then exported to Punjab? And it is, or not Punjab, sorry, Pakistan. and then the terrorist group utilize it, and that according to NATO, we are not NATO. I mean, Vienna Convention, we are not supposed to be using steel core bullets. The conventional army, or we're not
Yes.
supposed to be using or
See, the
producing
steel core bullets are generally prohibited in the normal warfare times. However, when it comes to steel core bullets, not only China is producing them, now even Pakistan is producing them. So Pakistan has got a cottage industry. You ever heard about Darra Adam Khel?
Yes.
So Darra Adam Khel, everything is being produced there. You talk about even they can even sell you a tank in Darra Adam Khel. So they produce everything. So in Darra Adam Khel also people are producing steel core bullets. China is also producing steel core bullets. The input for that's how the thing came into news, that I think few years back some of the terrorists who were killed, the steel core bullets which were recovered from them had Chinese marking. So it doesn't matter because anybody can produce them. Finally, what matters most is the person who's using them. So ultimately, it's all coming to us through Pakistan, and they're producing it. In the Radham Khel, they're producing steel core bullets. Even I'm sure that Pakistan Ordnance Factory also must be producing steel core bullets. They may be. They're good at
Right.
it.
So, and then why did we have to de-induct our forces from this area? And what is
See,
actually, so you kept mentioning this particular area. So is this why it is called Pir Panjal, south of Pir Panjal and north of
yes,
Pir
yes.
Panjal?
So when we are talking about south of Pir Panjal is entire Jammu area. And when we are talking about north of Pir Panjal, it is entire Kashmir Valley. So south of Pir Panjal, you have different zones. We have Punch area. Then down, just come below the Punch, then we have Rajouri area. From Rajouri, then you come little towards the east, you have Riasi area, Riasi and Kathua and Katra area. You come further east and northeast, then you have Udhampur and Batot and then Ramban area, and then further northeast is the Doda area. So it's a basically kind of curve shaped which runs all along the Pir Panjal, and these areas are there. Now, these areas have predominantly Hindu population. Muslim population is also there, but they are very less. And as a result, Indian Army started getting a lot of active support of locals in the past. So for them, it was very easy to eradicate militancy from this area, and they've been successful in eradicating. And for several years, there has been no incident of militancy in Jammu area, the entire Jammu area, south of Pir Punjab. So as a process, if there is relative peace in this area, so army has to move out, handing over the law and order responsibilities to the state police. That's what happened in Jammu area also. Army technically did not de-induct, but the units which were responsible for carrying out search, the units were responsible to dominate the area, they moved and they got deployed on the line of control in the three-tier deployment so that there is no infiltration from that side. Units were still there, not that they got de-inducted, but they were deployed in the different role. And the areas in the rear areas where the generally populated areas, they were left for police. And that's what they took advantage. Earlier, there used to be ROP every day, road opening parties to go out. Civilians were allowed movement only during a limited period of time in the day. So ultimately, it was hampering the overall life of the people. So when there's no terror incident, things become normal. The exactly same thing. Like if you compare it with the Kashmir Valley, in Kashmir Valley, till 5-6 years back or 7 years back, it was very difficult for any civilian to move out also. Now people happily move out. I met a group which went on motorbikes for from Delhi to Srinagar, from Srinagar to Kupwara, and Kupwara to back, and then went to Sonamarg and went to Leh. They could have not done it 5-6 years back. So there is normalcy. So when normalcy is prevailing in the valley, gradually forces will have to de-induct or redeploy themselves. So when we talk about the terrain of this area, so we have this the Chenab coming from upside, we have Tavi River from coming from upside. So all these rivers are going into Pakistan from this particular area. And this river area, because there's massive water in these rivers during the rainy time, so they have created a lot of ravines. There's large number of ravines. And it is a lot of nalas, ravines, and all these khaddas. And there are different khadds which are named after each other. And terrorists take advantage of these khadds or ravines to move from international border to the Indian territory. Very easy for them because they know the area, they already been surveyed, and international border, they take advantage of BSF being deployed over there.
So you
So
mentioned the rivers that I find very interesting. Is this why Pakistan is targeting that particular area? One of the other reasons?
see, terrain is one of
Geog
the important reason because if somebody is moving in a Maidan, if somebody is moving in a plain terrain, it is very easy for him to be detected by the security forces. But when there are so many ravines, so many undulations in the ground, it is very easy even for a larger group to infiltrate into India, especially during the non-monsoon seasons. During monsoon season, of course, it is difficult, but during non-monsoon seasons, it is very easy for a group of people to infiltrate into India in the night, pitch dark night, without being detected. And that's what they're doing. So the modus operandi is same. They start in the night, during the entire night, they cross the area, they come into India, before the first light, before the morning, they reach the highway and they board the vehicle which might have been waiting for them.
So is it true this area has not been fenced properly because of the same geographical issues? Like, it's very
Yes,
difficult.
this area has not been fenced properly because every time you put a fence in the monsoon season, the fence gets washed away.
Oh.
Every time you create a fence, every time the fence gets washed away because the amount of floods coming to this area is the massive. And that is the area when these all rivers, they leave the mountain and coming into the plains in the Punjab. So the flow of water is massive. So fencing is very difficult. And by the time you create another fencing, it takes years. So it needs a different kind of approach to guard this border. You just cannot do it with the fencing. You have to have a three-tier deployment the way we have in line of control. We do have similar kind of problems in the northern Kashmir also. We have got similar kind of problems in the Punch area also, where the Neelam River is there. There also in certain areas the fence get washed away. But since we have a three-tier deployment, it is very difficult for any terrorist to move in. So similar strategy is required at this Gurdaspur, Kathua, and Samba area also, all along this highway.
So what is the solution to prevent the kind of attacks that are happening?
So the first solution I suggest, I'm quite aggressive about it, and I must say that government has to put a complete stop on all sort of narco activities all along Punjab and northern Punjab border, because this is the network which is going to cause, which is being utilized as a backbone of terrorist. Second is this sensitive area, with the gaps which have been left over south of line of control, Nagrota area, maybe you talk about Dinanagar area, Kathua area. Although the terrain is quite difficult, but at this area also need to, I strongly advocate that the border guarding activity in this area should be handed over to army rather than giving it to BSF. And like we have three-tier deployment in uh, line of control, the similar three-tier deployment should take place here also. That is, and at the same time, special operations need to be carried out or, to neutralize whatever any terrorists have already infiltrated into this area. Maybe we have input about that 15 to 20 odd terrorists are operating in different groups in this area. They have to be neutralized first, and at the same time, the gaps will have to be plugged so that no more terrorists are able to infiltrate into India. We need to adopt a very, very comprehensive strategy. And of course, narco network has to be completely destroyed. You
So
cannot allow it to continue.
so do you think terrorism will reappear in Punjab also, like it did in 80s?
It is happening. It is happening. Unfortunately, I generally don't comment about the political issues, but due to the political aspirations of few people, the terrorism is re-emerging in Punjab. You go to the areas like Malwa area, you go to the areas like Barnala, Sangrur, you'll find people openly talking about anti-India sentiments. People are openly abusing the government, people are openly abusing things, and the way you see the recent incident when this CISF constable who slapped Kangana Ranawat, people have started coming in her support aggressively. So the way, and not only that, so it is ultimately one of the political section which is giving fuel to these kind of people just for their political ambitions. And this need to be curtailed at all costs. I don't know how government is going to do it, but this ideology which is coming up in, you call it this kind of Vidrohi, rebellious attitude among the people. So they are fueling in the rebellious attitude among the people. कि हम तो नहीं मानेंगे भाई, आप कुछ भी बोल दीजिए, whatever you say. Same thing happened in the farmers process. Government finally agreed to their demands. They said, no, now we have different demands. So the total rebellious attitude of the people, and people who are instigating the total rebellious attitude, they have to be taken to the task. Even if government has to put an emergency in Punjab again, they should not hesitate in doing it. But they should act now before it becomes too late. The way things happen in Canada, we don't want Punjab to become the Canada, the things like Canada. It has already been happening. People have been abusing the government. People have been insulting the flags, and all those things are happening in Punjab. We heard the input, like, you can't stop them. People are doing anything and everything what they want to do. The rebellion which is happening, the thing which is brewing in the mind of people of Punjab has to be curtailed down, and the people who are doing it have to be taken for task, and government has to do it somehow. I don't know how are they going to do it before it becomes too late.
So one last question. What had happened was, on the day Riyasi attack had happened, initially TRF's Jhelum Media House had come up with a poster publishing saying that this is just the beginning and more such attacks will take place. And then the pictures of children started coming. And that created a lot of... I saw even Pakistanis saying that children are a red line. They should never be touched and all that. Because it is then similar to what the picture that emerged from Gaza. Right. So then next day morning, after Pakistanis began reacting against Riyasi attack, PFF first came out and said this is not by us. The next day morning, TRF came back and said TRF and PFF, we all know, are LET and JEM proxies, right? Proxies. Yeah. I'm sorry, I just used PFF and TRF. So TRF came out and said that this is not an attack by us. So why is it the deaths of children that forced the terrorists to take back their statement, and has it backfired on them?
It has not backfired on them. They achieved their aim by inciting fear in the mind of the people. They achieved their aim. It only thing which backfired, that the photograph of children went public. Had these photographs not been made public, not been circulated in social media, TRF or PFF would have not issued any statement like that. Because they just thought, okay, let's issue a statement, decline a statement, and let's continue our activities. Surprisingly, I'm so much frustrated with that. In India, so many people are talking about Gaza. Hardly anybody was speaking about the death of people in Riyasi. All those sort of so-called film stars, so-called political personalities, so-called intellectuals, so-called academicians who were tweeting about all eyes on Rafah and all eyes on Gaza. Nobody has even bothered to talk about Riyasi, and that is very unfortunate. And had these photographs of these children not circulated on social media, nobody would have even bothered to talk about Riyasi. Let me tell you, because these things don't matter for them. They don't pay. See, for Gaza, there is a complete ecosystem. People who are talking about Gaza, people who are tweeting about Gaza, there are people who are paying for them. Nobody's paying.
Ecosystem. You mentioned ecosystem.
Yes.
That means
it is an ecosystem.
They perpetuate.
Ecosystem. People have been approaching. Okay, I think few days back there was a toolkit which was circulated on social media where people are saying, okay, if you have so many followers on Twitter, and if you tweet about Rafah, if you tweet about Gaza, you'll get so much of money. So the rates were decided as per the number of your followers. So there are people who are doing it. There are people who are fueling it. Unfortunately, nobody is issuing such a rate card for Riyasi. But finally, net to net, if you see, government has to come up with a proper strategy. You cannot fulfill everything together. Things are brewing in Punjab, and before Punjab goes out of the hand, government has to act. Things are brewing in Kashmir. You have to act before it goes out of the hand. And as far as the Jammu area is concerned, government has to come out with an overall strategy. Plug the gaps. Seal the international border areas from where the terrorists are infiltrating. Flush them out. Kill them, everybody. No mercy.
No mercy. That's a great note to end this interview, sir. Thank you so much for your time once again. And thanks for being so articulate about everything that you've explained. Thank you so much once again.
Thank you, Labina. Thank you.